Ohio State has found its winning edge with unselfish team-focused play, a formula they'll need to stick to tomorrow against Northwestern.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Feel Good Friday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, your daily Ohio State podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Simply visit FanDuel.com to get started. During today's show, we'll unveil our score prediction for tomorrow's game against Northwestern and what we can expect from the Buckeyes offensive line tomorrow, as well as the Buckeyes mindset right now. As the Buckeyes strive for perfection in November, they must continue to play unselfish across the board. Coaches being unselfish, players being unselfish, everyone that's in the program being unselfish, because it's worked so far. And right now, if you want to be perfect in November, you must be an unselfish football team. It's all about the brotherhood at Ohio State. No matter if you are a newcomer, if you're a recruit, or if you have been there for 5 or 6 years, it's all about the brotherhood. Some guys are recruits and they want to be a part of said brotherhood. Some guys like Travion Henderson and Jack Sawyer stick around for one more year because of that brotherhood. And that brotherhood has been so strong this year. It's been one where guys have been able to pick players up and motivate players and say, no, we're not going to get down. We know you made a mistake. We have more football to play on this day. Let's move forward. And that mindset tomorrow against Northwestern, it's not about being unselfish to beat Northwestern, but it's about being unselfish because if you flip that switch off tomorrow and say, oh, it's a bad football team playing in a venue that's not made for football. There's a lot of things that can kind of detour you tomorrow against Northwestern and get you off of the mindset of being unselfish. That could hurt you against Indiana. That could hurt you against Michigan. You still might make it to the Big Ten championship game, but being selfish in that game against whoever you play, that might be what happens and you might lose that game. So I understand this is one of those games that could be a trap game or it could be a look-ahead game. Don't treat it like that at all. Treat it like you have treated every single game. Ryan Day does something very, very smart when it comes to opponents that Ohio State should just blow out. And you'll see via my score prediction, I think Ohio State is going to blow out Northwestern tomorrow. But Ryan Day is very smart. And sometimes he does some things that are psychological in nature, but they are huge in the football field. A week ago, Ryan Day started talking about Purdue in a way that caused everybody to realize Ohio State's respecting Purdue. Yes, Purdue's record is bad. Their stats are bad. It's a really unfortunate situation for those players there that went there to play football. Then all of a sudden, things just aren't going their way. But Ryan Day started to talk about Purdue in a way and kind of present Purdue as a program and a team in that week that kind of maybe caught some reporters off guard or maybe the players off guard, but he's keeping the respect of the opponent at the forefront of the players' minds. Don't look at the record. Don't look at the number. Look at what you see on film and realize this is a Big Ten opponent. And if you just kind of go in there and kind of walk through and go through the motions and you don't take them seriously, they could smack you around and they could beat you. Now, it didn't happen. Ohio State took Purdue seriously, and Ohio State won that game. It's the same thing tomorrow. You're playing in a baseball stadium. Ohio State normally doesn't go to the stadium on a Friday. They do it. They go on a Saturday on game day. But Ohio State is going to be going to Wrigley Field today for about 15 to 20 minutes to kind of get the lay of the land, see where they filled in the spots where the infield is, where there's normally dirt on the ground, see where they put that sod in. So he's trying to help the players get a feel for not only an abnormal venue, but for some things that are just legitimately abnormal in nature. Then if you've seen the pictures and the video circulating around the Twitter and Blue Sky and Threads and all these other social media platforms right now, you have seen that there are portions of the end zone, the corners of the end zone that look unsafe. The first one that actually popped out to me is, I believe it's off the, I don't want to say, what, the third baseline? Would be the third baseline. It's right there by the brick wall. It's where the field goal post is. And let's just say you're running a route and you're heading towards the back of the end zone. There's not much space between the back of the end zone, that line there, and the brick wall there in Wrigley Field. Not much space at all. So it's very smart for Ryan Day. If I am Carnell Tate, who is back home, unfortunately, he is in a space where the last time his mom was there was via a drive-by, and it's not, I hate to bring that up, but it's kind of a homecoming for him, but also realizing he's going to be a little emotional. He's going to be happy to be back home, but also, man, I miss my mama. Well, Carnell Tate might be a guy that gets some balls early, and he wants to realize, man, okay, on this route, I got to try to change it a little bit, or if I do that, I got to kind of let up a little bit here just because this brick wall, man, it's unforgiving. And Ryan Day's being very smart. Not only taking some time to recognize a very unique stadium in sports, in American sports, but also realizing this is going to be a little bit different. Doing things to keep the players to have the respect of the opponent and the venue they're playing in. I think right now, this week, Ohio State is taking Northwestern seriously, and that's smart. Just make sure you're unselfish. And I'm saying this is saying make sure you're unselfish. Not like I think they won't be unselfish, but it's just one thing Ohio State must do tomorrow is be unselfish. I have in my room right now, the office at our apartment, to my right are a couple of light switches. I'm not going to mess with them right now because, well, I got the fan on above me, and that keeps me cool, keeps me very comfortable during the show. And one is a light. Y'all don't want to see just the darkness in the room right now. But when you turn the light switch on and off, it's an easy switch. On, off, on, off. And if Ohio State says, oh, we don't have to be unselfish tomorrow, you turn that bad boy off, then you realize you're in the Windy City. Though it's going to be probably cloudy and an overcast sky all day long. It's an earlier kick for your body than normal because it's 11 a.m. local kick in 11 a.m. Eastern. No, it's 11 a.m. local in Chicago kickoff. So even if you stay on Eastern time, things might be a little bit different. The darkness outside might be a little bit different. There's a lot of things that are a little bit different about this game tomorrow. A lot of stuff could cause Ohio State to say, man, I'm going to get in my head. I want to be stuck on myself. There's a lot of things that could cause them to do that. Think about the last time Ohio State played in Northwestern. It was at Ryan Field that is now being, I don't know if they demolished it or they're just redoing it, not sure. But the renovations are supposed to be massive, and I'm glad they're redoing the field. But, man, the last time they were there was a couple years ago, 2022, and Ohio State definitely seemed like they didn't want to be there. Northwestern didn't play any music during pregame. There were 40 to 50-mile-per-hour winds. It was just a weird day. Ohio State, I think Maya Williams scored a touchdown late to kind of give Ohio State some cushion to their lead over Northwestern on that day. But it was just weird, man. You could tell a lot of guys didn't want to be there, and it showed up with their play. Tomorrow is not the day to allow that to happen. It is not that Ohio State has to be unselfish, as that's a key to the game to win the game. No, it's a key to have a perfect November. As the Buckeyes strive to be perfect in November to make the Big Ten championship game, you must remember every game, get outside of yourself. If you're a coach, get outside of yourself. If you're a staffer, get out of your own way and do what is needed for Ohio State to win the game. That should be the mindset of everybody. What can I do to help Ohio State to win? And if it's doing things that are me getting out of the way, that's okay. Because the ultimate goal is to win and to do whatever we can do to help the team win. Speaking of helping the team win, the Buckeyes offensive line has been gaining confidence lately. And I think tomorrow's going to be one of those days they're going to continue to build confidence by the way they're going to play tomorrow afternoon. This episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchase may apply. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. The Buckeyes offensive line has been the talk of the town all season long. From preseason conversations in regards to who is going to start to a couple injuries in the middle of the season. Right now, we got the Buckeyes offensive line that we believe we're going to get throughout the rest of the year. And no one's really upset with the five that are out there. Yeah, there may be a weak link here, but overall, this is the five you want to move forward with. And this unit is currently building confidence at the right time of year. And if the Buckeyes want to be perfect in November and strive for perfection as a must right now to accomplish all their goals, the Buckeyes offensive line must continue to build confidence and to gain confidence. And you can do that tomorrow in Northwestern. Think about everything we just talked about earlier in the show about being unselfish, continuing that mindset, having that level of play, but also you're going to be in an abnormal environment in a venue that's not made for a football to be played. And so there are a lot of things that can cause this very unit that in its nature is an unselfish unit to not be unselfish. Realistically, it's very easy. Let's say tomorrow Northwestern decides, because this is a Northwestern home game, even though it's technically in a neutral site. Let's just say that Northwestern decides, no music at all. Or they're going to go to the baseball side of things and play organ music the entire time. Whatever they decide to do that's abnormal, if you're an offensive lineman, if something kind of messes up your flow or messes up your game day prep, it could cause you to have so many abnormal thoughts. It could cause you to not be able to get over unforeseen obstacles. It could cause so many hurdles for you during the game because, man, one or two things didn't go your way. But this isn't the time for that. Ohio State's offensive line has too many vets. Even a guy who was now your starting left guard started 12 games a year ago. He's a vet. He's played a lot of football. He's played a lot of good football. Missed me with a lot of the Carson Hinzman slander that went around at the end of last year and the middle of last year. He is a good player, and he has earned the right to play. And I do think Hinzman and Jackson and McLaughlin and Fryer, let's just say tomorrow is a day that Tega Shabola, because he is the youngest guy there that has the least experience of the five starters, let's just say that tomorrow Tega Shabola isn't able to get up and go. Is struggling a little bit. As players say they like playing at 12 noon and getting up and going, let's just say Tega Shabola isn't able to do that. And he's missing blocks, missing assignments, not getting out quick enough when he's pulling. Let's just say that happens. You got four guys right there that can pick him up, that can help him out, and can help him to get his confidence back, to get back into the groove, because that's what's needed right now. You know what's going to help this unit build confidence? The run game. Because we got to see a week ago that Ohio State is comfortable moving forward at times with Judkins and Henderson on the field at the same time. I want to see more of them in the backfield together. And if you're utilizing the Purdue game and the Northwestern games as games where you can kind of experiment here. Because I don't think Northwestern is able to stop anything Ohio State wants to do offensively. But I know for a fact they won't be able to handle Judkins and Henderson in the backfield at the same time. Let's just say they do split back, old school split backfield. Both guys in a three-point stance. Howard goes under center. What is Northwestern going to do? If you have your two traditional linebackers out there, and let's just say Henderson goes in motion and goes out wide, we saw what happened a week ago. It's night time. You can't stop them. You can't stop them at all. Let's just say they do some motion and motion one guy out to bring him back in, and let's say Henderson's the motion guy. He comes back, he gets the ball in a jet sweep, and Judkins becomes a lead blocker. What's your answer? You don't have one. Why? Because Ohio State has so many weapons. And it's going to be great that Ohio State has all these weapons, but also the success of the run game with Judkins and Henderson on the field at the same time or not, whatever it is, the success on the run game is going to help those five guys up front gain confidence. It's just a byproduct of the successful run game. I have been there, man. I played offensive line my entire life playing football. Started in 7th grade. Last year playing football was when I was a senior in high school. And I know what it's like, man. You're struggling a little bit. Decatur Central game, my freshman year. It was tied 0-0. One of the toughest games I played that year alone. Tied 0-0. And then all of a sudden, we get the ball late in the game. Well, we call timeout. And all of a sudden, I don't know if it was a blast or power. It was some type of run play between the tackles. We ran outside the tackles a little bit, but we were mainly a run between the tackles type of team. I think it was probably Demetrius Edwards or Lawrence Casey, one of the two, got the ball, score, and we felt so elated and over the top. It just starts celebrating like crazy because of that win, because of that score. But it kind of gave us a lot of confidence, like, hey, man, we struggled at times and stuff didn't go our way. But on this play, on this drive, everything went our way. Stuff went our way. And it allowed us to build confidence. And that's going to be the same thing tomorrow for Ohio State's offensive line. As they continue to build confidence and as the offensive line starts to do a lot of things better, as they kind of get the communication where it needs to be, continue to improve that during pass pro. Let's just say tomorrow's one of those days at the run game that both Judkins and Henderson go over 100 yards in the same game. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but let's just say it does. That is going to be one of those ways where the O-line is saying, man, everything is working. Everything is clicking against a team in Northwestern that you already know is going to be fundamentally sound. They're very, very smart. You got to be smart to get into Northwestern anyway. So they're very, very smart. They're fundamentally sound. You know that's going to be them from Jump Street. And if you can move the ball on the ground against those guys, against those geniuses, you're doing something right. The Buckeyes O-line can build confidence tomorrow, and I expect them to do that. Just like I expect Ohio State to play some young guys tomorrow, because I do think this game is going to get out of hand. Midway through the third quarter, you might pull the starters. I'll let the young guys play. And there's a few young guys I want to see play tomorrow in Wrigley Field. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and it's all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you guys can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bet. All you got to do is simply visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All the action goes down in two places, on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and on FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. We all know and have a good feeling that Ohio State is going to smack Northwestern tomorrow. Ohio State's talent is just too good. They're playing great ball right now. Northwestern's offense, just when I was watching the film, some stuff I saw showed some guys that can move a little bit. Jake Lotz, their quarterback, can get outside the tackle box and skedaddle and get past the line of scrimmage. But statistically, not that hot at all. Defensively, it's kind of like Purdue. I think defensively they might be okay, but when your offense is kind of struggling a little bit, your defense is going to look worse. So I do think tomorrow's going to be one of those games similar to Purdue, but Jake Lotz is a different quarterback than Hudson Card, but they both can pose a threat to Ohio State's defense. I think this game's going to get out of hand, man. And there are players I'm looking for and watching tomorrow, and I'm going to go into those later. But I want to see some young guys play, primarily at the quarterback position, because Ryan Day said Devin Brown is still the backup quarterback, but Julian Sand is pushing. Now, I'm not trying to read in that thing too deeply, but if you're telling me that Julian Sand is pushing right after you say Devin Brown's your backup quarterback, there's a competition there. I don't think you unveil and say Julian Sand is your backup, is your guy, is pushing if there is no competition. And a week ago, Devin Brown played a little bit. I don't think he threw a pass. Julian Sand threw, I believe, 4 or 5 passes a week ago in mop-up duty. And I'm sitting here thinking, if I'm Devin Brown, I am annoyed. However, if homie ain't got what it takes to hold down the backup quarterback spot, then you just ain't got it, bro. But you've held it down. And I truly wonder if Sand were a sophomore, a true sophomore at that, and Devin Brown being a true junior, if that's where they were as far as eligibility, I wonder if Sand would have jumped Devin Brown already. Because I think one reason why Julian Sand has not played more than Devin Brown this year is because of the age gap between one being a true freshman and one being a junior. But I'm very curious what happens tomorrow if it gets out of hand midway through the third quarter. Devin Brown comes in. Does he throw or does he not throw? That's a legitimate question we all have. Also, when it comes to guys I like to see play, I don't want to spend too much time on the quarterbacks. I do want to look and see what James Peoples does. Ohio State hasn't really had to use a third running back during serious or meaningful plays this year. It's been one of the two guys, number 1 or number 32, number 20 or number 24. Haven't really seen that at all. I really wish that Ohio State could have a time to put Caleb Downs at running back, because as Ryan Day said about Caleb Downs when he was in high school, he could play running back in college, and he did dabble a little bit in the meeting room for the running backs during the preseason. I want to see it. Just me being a fan, me being a Caleb Downs fan, I want to see it. I know we're not going to, but I would love to see that. I am watching Edric Houston and Joshua Mickens and Mitchell Melton. Now, Mitchell Melton's not a youngster. As I know in the graphic, it says let the youngsters play. But Mitchell Melton hasn't really played a lot. He's been injured a little bit, which has derailed him getting on the field consistently. Is he only playing in the jack position? Will he play a traditional four-down lineman defensive end? Where will he play? Joshua Mickens from our high school. I actually know his family a little bit too. So I'm very curious to see, does Mickens get on the field and does he immediately make plays like he did a week ago? Because I do think Mickens can do that. I am a little shocked it's happening now. When he committed to Ohio State, it was one of those guys where I know you're from the whole time, from a high school, know your people, all that kind of stuff. I just didn't think he was a guy to play at Ohio State. Saw him in high school over a course of a few years. Didn't really wow me. Actually, I think he got benched during his senior year. So for a guy that went to Ohio State, got benched during his senior year, his coach kind of pushed a few buttons that needed to be pushed, because Mickens wasn't really popping off the field like that his last year in high school. Now, some guys, you may say, Jay, it's not going to. If you're going to Ohio State, buddy, you're going to pop off the page, off the field for your good plays. And there were times that didn't happen. I'm looking at Joshua Mickens, looking at Gabe Powers. He always makes plays as well. These guys aren't really young, but I want to see what Kenyatta Jackson Jr. and Caden Curry do. Y'all know, Caden Curry, another one, didn't go to my high school. I saw him a lot when he was in high school down there at Center Grove on the south side of Indianapolis. Caden Curry's one of the guys. When I saw him in high school, I said, oh, he's good, man. He's a dude. Saw him when he won the state championship, talked to some of his people. And they said, oh, man, we didn't know we don't know where he's going. He went to Ohio State. And ever since he's got on the field in Columbus, he makes plays. Plays here, plays there. He is just a playmaker on defense. Put him on the field more, man. I've been beating this drum for a while. I'm not going to stop till it happens. And when it happens, I'm going to say, keep on doing it. Play number 92. It's in your best interest to play number 92 more. Also, with the receivers, Carnell Tate's young. I do think he's going to get a guy that's going to get a lot of touches early in the game and probably score in the first drive. A little bit of a homecoming, and especially without his mom being there in the stands, I think Chip Kelly and Ryan Day want to kind of pay tribute to her and also honor him for him being back home. So I do think Carnell Tate's one of those guys. But Bryson Rogers, is he the fifth receiver? I think we're comfortable knowing who the top four are. But is Bryson Rogers number 5? Because tomorrow's one of those games, even in mop-up duty, we know Ryan Day is comfortable letting the backup quarterbacks mainly saying throw it a little bit more than Devin Brown. I want to see what Bryson Rodgers does. I also am looking for some guys on defense that are a little bit younger. Calvin Simpson Hunt, does he play? Malik Hartford, does he play? Matthews Jr. is going to play. We all know that. But in regards to next week, do we see him outside the entire time? Do they kind of tweak and put Lorenzo Styles, who's not truly a youngster, newer to the team? Do they try to tweak some things with the defense and move Hancock to outside corner, removing Igbenogson because of the issues with penalties and overly aggressive play? What do they do there? They could use a youngster in Matthews Jr. They could move. I think Hancock's the guy. I think if you're trying to figure out something about a week from now, do you move Igbenogson or move Burke? Burke is staying out there. Igbenogson go to the sideline. Hancock go outside. Lorenzo Styles come in, or Sonny Styles go out. Bring in Orville Reese. The Buckeyes are so talented. They have different variations of that 4-2-5, just all depending on personnel, the team you're playing, and how Ohio State wants to attack it. I think it's as simple. I really aren't keys to the game. It's more Ohio State just taking care of business. I got Ohio State winning this game tomorrow 42-6. Northwestern is a Big Ten team playing in a baseball stadium. I don't know why this game is not being played in Soldier Field. I talked to my wife about that, and I was like, maybe the people at Soldier Field didn't want to have a game on a Saturday, then have to change a field and clean the stands for a game on Sunday. I don't know. I don't know the logistics. I don't even know if there's an event in Soldier Field tomorrow night. I have no idea. The one thing I do know is this: playing a game in a baseball stadium is weird. On top of that, the last time Ohio State went there, it was weird. The weather is going to be weird. The feel is going to be weird. Watching it on TV, or if you're covering it there live, it's going to be weird. You're still covering it live, there in person. Don't complain about it. Be very excited and enjoy the opportunity you have to cover Ohio State. But also, when it comes to watching the game, it might be weird, but you'll be able to say you're one of the few people that actually watched Ohio State play in Wrigley Field. That is something I think will be a badge of honor, and people will say, oh, man, what happened? And you can run down the list of things that happen tomorrow as Ohio State beats Northwestern. My score prediction: Buckeyes win 42-6. Thank you all for tapping into Locked On Buckeyes here on this Feel Good Friday and making it your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast, because Craig Sheeman is the guy that puts the Big Ten first when everyone else overlooks it. Find Locked On Big Ten on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Threads, on Instagram at jstevens07. Don't even say it all like that, but might as well now. There's so many different apps. Send every email to only one place, jstevens317@gmail.com. Buckeyes win tomorrow 42-6. Looking forward to watching the game. We'll see you next time.